Tonight, the Secret Service is looking for 3 individuals who made threatening comments at a rally in D.C. this August. And Comedy Central makes a joke out of pedophiles abusing children. Also, we look at President Trump giving us another confirmation of Q via Twitter. Hi, I'm Craig, and welcome to Just Informed Talk. For those of you who don't know, every episode starts the exact same way. I say thank you to everybody who's hit that subscribe button. It makes a big difference, guys. And if you haven't hit it, please come here, click the big red subscribe button. It makes a huge difference, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate it. And there's new subscribers every day, so I'm thankful to everybody who has done that. It makes a huge difference. You guys don't even know. Now, today we're going to talk about this here. We got this Q post from before. If you guys want to get caught up to where we're at, we've already gone over all of these. And there's a lot more information there, and you guys can dig in on that. If you want, come back here, watch these last few videos. You're going to get a really good insight into what's going on, what's the latest updates. And I can tell you guys right now, there's been some crazy revelations here. And we're going to cover like so much that it's going to be pretty incredible. But first, we're going to talk about how President Trump is confirming, once again, Q via Twitter in a subtle way. But nonetheless, it is a way that needs to be noted. So in order to understand what President Trump's doing, we have to understand this Q post 1928. This is from August 19th, where Q actually lays out this 3-movie post. Basically, it tells us there's 3 movies. We didn't really have a context for that until now. Guess what President Trump just posted on his Twitter? Well, 3 sequential movies. You have one here, one here, and one here. And they're from the same kind of setting, but they're 3 short movies that give us an idea, an insight into what this Q post was referring to. So let's look at this Q post real quick. And as we look at this Q post, we're going to watch those videos and we're going to kind of understand how they relate back to this and how it's another proof of the President of the United States telling us to look at this Q stuff, or basically Q telling us to look to the president, I guess. However you want to really look at that. It's kind of a 6 in one hand, half dozen in the other type situation. But if you look at this, we're going to read through it, and it's going to actually be very, very enlightening for some people out there who really haven't been able to get that close to that information. And again, if you're scratching your head at this point and you're going, why is he telling me to watch these videos and what is Q? Watch this video right here and share this video, because I can tell you that they just went and demonetized this video, and I'm like, okay, great. What did I do here except tell people how to find information about Q and the Great Awakening? So that tells me I'm definitely over the target. So you guys should come here and watch this video because it's good information. It gives you information on how to get involved, how to find the information, where to go to find the posts, what it basically is, how it basically started. And it's a good resource, and it's only a half hour. It's kind of a shorter video. You know, I try to keep my videos under an hour here, but you guys should go watch that and share that. Even if you know what Q is and you know how to do all that stuff, share it. Put it on your social media and stuff, because that video has a lot of information. And regardless of whether they remonetize or whatever, doesn't matter. That's an important video for us to keep sharing, getting out there. So I want to keep that video getting bigger and bigger. And like I said, in this video, there's a lot of people commenting on just great stuff. So you can go check that out. Here we go. Movie 1. We're going to read through this post again. Post 1928. Showtime, Bruce Orr, Christopher Steele, Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr, Christopher Steele, Nellie Orr, Bruce Orr, who instructed the DOJ to select text messages, right? Or to release select text messages. When did Rod Rosenstein learn of involvement, Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr? What happens if Rod Rosenstein knew prior to signing Carter Page FISA? Why did Rod Rosenstein, under congressional testimony, refuse to answer the question regarding reading of FISA prior to execution? Trust me, all of these have answers. Who signed page 380? Who signed page 389? Who signed all these pages, right? And it gives us a copy of the FISA document, the redacted one, right? And just breaking this down really quick, what it's basically saying is who at the DOJ was releasing these text messages when it comes to information that was leaked, basically. And when did Rod Rosenstein learn of involvement with Bruce Orr and Nellie Orr? Did Rod Rosenstein know prior to the Carter Page FISA that basically was the reason for spying on the Trump campaign and extending the spying on the Trump campaign using the Christopher Steele dossier, which we now know is 100% fake, right? That to me is what is very important to take away from this, and that Bruce Orr is over there working as the, I guess, fourth in charge at the Department of Justice, and Nellie Orr, his wife, is working over at Fusion GPS with Christopher Steele and MI6 in the Secret Intelligence Service in Britain, making this fake dossier to basically use it as an insurance policy against President Trump, to keep him from getting in office, and to make sure that if he does get in office, they have a way to stop his agenda and to put him under impeachment. That, to me, ladies and gentlemen, is the biggest crime that was committed here. This story, this whole thing, where it asks us who, it gives us the FISA document right here, that the redacted version. It asks us who signs these pages. Well, guess what? You have, Bruce Orr signing, Andrew McCabe signing. You have some redactions that would probably make it look like it was probably Peter Strzok and Lisa Page signing. The people who were talking about taking out an insurance policy against President Trump, the people who were talking about creating a firewall against President Trump, which is the next thing. It says who is one of 4 firewalls. These are the 4 firewalls that are being referenced here in these pages. And the 4 firewalls are the 4 people who were signing off on these FISA warrants while knowing fully that they were being used, or that they were being conducted under these false pretenses with false evidence that they could have easily disproved had they done one iota of investigatory work in vetting the sources and the information and where it was coming from in an objective way. But no, objectivity in the justice system under the Hussein administration seemed to be in short supply, and other things like corruption seem to be in full amount there. Now it's saying the FISA 20, those are the 20 redacted pages that we want to see on the FISA document. That's going to explain a lot. Then it says the trilogy. So this is talking about the 3 movies. Then it says movie 1 full, the start. So this is the movie 1 that we're going to connect back to the first video that President Trump tweeted very shortly after this post was made. Now it says plot. And we're going to read through the plot. Now I want you guys to listen very carefully, because I'm not going to reread this, and I want you guys to understand that this is basically a summary of what we're looking at in a broad scope here that has so many complexities and nuances that we have to understand that this is the summary, the broad overlook, the plot, right, of what we're actually seeing being uncovered in front of our own eyes in real time. It says, how the intelligence apparatus, State Department, and Department of Justice of the United States, in joint effort with our ex-primary foreign allies and other covert assets as directed by Hussein White House, in coordination with Hillary Rodham Clinton, colluded and conspired to rig the presidential election of 2016 in an effort to install Hillary Clinton. Remember, install is a word that they use when they put in dictators, right? Frame POTUS projection, create emergency contingencies regarding installation of safeguards and firewalls to prevent exposure or continuation of presidency should counter fail to ensure operators, actors, agents of power, and past and present remain in control, and use sources, covert assets of the fake news media to carry out frame barrage of strategic, coordinated, guided attacks designed to divide, cover, shelter, justify impeachment, removal, in effort to regain control and prevent public awareness of illegal, criminal, treasonous acts. Movies 1 through 3, full list, coming soon to a theater near you. Movie 2, coming this fall. Movie 3, to be announced. Enjoy the show. Q. Well, coming soon is highlighted, or put in capitals here, soon. And of course, soon thereafter, we have President Trump right here giving us a literal 3 movies to watch. So you guys, I want you to watch this video, and we're going to talk about how this is a reference and a description, in my opinion, as to who's in control of, or who's at the top of movie 1, which relates back to the Q post, and what their end goal is. So let's watch this.
Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats want to
So,
abolish the
what President
brave
Trump
men and
says there
women
is
of
basically that
ICE.
Nancy
What
Pelosi
I
and the
want to
Democrats
do is
want to
abolish the
abolish ICE.
killers in
And
ISIS. And
what
you
we
know who's
want
going
to
to
do
win?
is
We are.
abolish the ISIS killers, the people who want to harm us, right? And ISIS being a reference to Islamic State in Syria, but other organizations that want to harm our country, harm our citizens, and harm our way of life because they feel that it is a calling to be at war with us. Now, to me, what's being said here by President Trump is pretty basic. Look, you have Nancy Pelosi and the Democrats who literally want to get rid of ICE. What does ICE do? Okay, besides the whole border patrol and immigration stuff, they would go and pick up ISIS members who may sneak into our country, try to plan a terrorist attack against us, like something on the scale of 9/11, it could be, or even worse, who knows? And those ICE agents are the ones who are going to go get those people. And I can't understand for the life of me how people who have kids or family or even just loved ones or even just love their life can't see that the ICE agents are here to protect us when it comes to, getting people who shouldn't be in this country out of it. To me, if you want to abolish the whole ICE agency, the whole idea of being able to internally regulate those who come in, especially, and then prioritize based on threat level, and look at these people who we've shown in the past. Let's never forget what happened back in 2001. And regardless of what happened, the real story behind it, I don't know because I wasn't involved, and I don't know what the real story is. I know I've heard all the different theories out there. But there were people who were in this country who wanted to commit acts of violence against us, and it's happened time and time again, and we have to put our foot down and say, this is how we stop it, right? Is by having people who can go and exercise authority and pick these people up and take them out of our country, right? So that, to me, is what President Trump is saying, but it all relates back to Nancy Pelosi, I think, is being mentioned first, because who would be overseeing all of this? We have Bruce Orr, Christopher Steele, John Brennan, James Clapper, James Comey, Rod Rosenstein, Andrew McCabe, Lisa Barsoomian, Hillary Clinton, all of these people literally working together against the President of the United States during his campaign to illegally spy on his campaign, right? Using fake evidence that they knew was fake and that they knew could be called into question just based off of the relationships of the people who created it alone. Does it make sense that Obama Hussein officials who were nominated by him and in office working were actually in charge of these, or not even nominated, some were hired. I'm not saying they all were. I'm just saying that the Obama leftovers and these people who are sycophants to that previous administration were working together to spy while President Obama was still there on the candidate on behalf of the opposing candidate. So, to me, guys, there's so much here. There's so much there that it makes this Michael Cohen thing just look like a joke when you put it into comparison, because you hear Michael Cohen say, oh, President Trump is, he's this bad guy. Basically what he did was he spied on me and, or no, not spied on me, excuse me. He basically forced me to make the payment to Stormy Daniels, and we all knew it was illegal. And you're just sitting there thinking to himself, it had nothing to do with campaign finances. The real story there is that Michael Cohen basically betrayed the trust of his attorney-client privilege, but basically was forced to, as the FBI went in and seized all of his attorney-client information under Mueller's direction, basically. So, look, there is so much there. You guys have to keep up with this, and I can tell you that that's the first movie. It talks about Bruce Orr, all of these relationships with the Carter Page FISA, and then all the way down here we have who the firewalls were, Peter Strzok, Lisa Page, all those people were involved, Andrew McCabe, and this is the whole intelligence apparatus right here. This is what they did, okay? This is what they did against our own president at the behest of the former administration. So now it says movie 2 coming this fall. So Q's alluding to something that's coming this fall that's going to be alluded to here by President Trump in this video. Now, this video right here we'll watch, and it actually explains kind of what's coming this fall. So if you guys can read between the lines, you may be able to pick up on this. So I'm going to go ahead and let you watch.
Molly Tibbetts, an incredible young woman, is now permanently separated from her family. A person came in from Mexico illegally and killed her. We need the wall. We need our immigration laws changed. We need our border laws changed. We need Republicans to do it because the Democrats aren't going to do it. This is one instance of many. We have tremendous crime trying to come through the borders. We have the worst laws anywhere in the world. Nobody has laws like the United States. They are strictly pathetic. We need new immigration laws. We need new border laws. The Democrats will never give them, and the wall is being built. We've started it, but we also need the funding
And
for
I
this
couldn't agree
year's
more.
building of the wall.
You know, God bless the
So,
family of Molly Tibbetts.
the
For those of you who
family
don't know
of
who Molly
Tibbetts,
Tibbetts is, if you haven't
all I
watched the
can
news lately,
say is
basically
God bless
there
you.
was a story you guys might have seen in the news recently of an Iowan girl, college student, who was missing, and it turns out they found her after they arrested an illegal immigrant who basically confessed to her murder and showed the police where he had buried her body. Now, to me, that's tragic. I mean, and we need to pray for her family, and we need to really send our support and thoughts and prayers. And I'm going to look for in fact, I'll look for if there's a GoFundMe or anything like that, and if I can find anything, I'll post it in the description. But the reality is this: evil does exist in this world, and people choose to ignore it. And one of the stories we're going to talk about here in a second, you know, you have Comedy Central out there making a joke of pedophilia, of sexual abuse of children, ritual sacrifice of children. They're laughing at it. And to me, that is in and of itself the sick world that we've come to live in. But it's sometimes I just don't think it's a lot of these people's faults. I think they've been culturally indoctrinated, they've been brainwashed, they've been desensitized, and they don't stand a chance because they watch these sick movies, and they watch these awful TV shows, and they, you know, listen to these awful comedy jokes. You know, I mean, think about this. You know, they're trying to make it okay for a guy to make jokes like James Gunn did about abusing children, and they're saying it's just comedy. And Sarah Silverman makes a whole show about, or a whole skit about, you know, abducting children and abusing them. And it's basically like they want to make it normal, or they just think it's okay to joke about. But to me, none of that's funny, and it never will be. So maybe I'm just I don't have that kind of sense of humor, but I'll never think that stuff's funny, and I really think it's disturbing. So that's what President Trump, though, I think is alluding to here, is not about all that, but moreover about the border wall, the funding, what's going to be happening in this fall as we approach the midterm elections, and as we go through them. It's going to be an important focus on Molly Tibbetts and examples of things that happen like that, and how securing our borders is the most important thing, because the last thing that any of us really pray, and we don't want this to ever happen again. We said never again. I mean, you guys remember what happened that day in September of 2001 when we said never again, and we would never forget. And I think we need to stand by those phrases even more now, 17 years later, to say, you know, we will never forget, and we will never forget that kind of thing. So now it says movie 3 to be announced. And movie 3 is going to be a reference to this third video, which is a little more on the ambiguous side. I didn't get the meaning out of it right away, but we'll watch it and we'll kind of get what it's alluding to. And then maybe you guys can contribute in the comments what you think this video could be meaning.
When I got elected, you had some people that said This is going to be the greatest thing to ever happen to our country. I guess that's why I won. We had a lot of people. But you had others that say, oh, the market will collapse, lots of bad things will happen. And take a look at what's happened. We have the greatest, longest bull market in the history of our country. They turned out to be wrong. Some have actually apologized, but very, very few. I think the rest will soon be
Now, my initial
apologizing
take on that
because
is that
honestly,
the to be
the
announced
American public demands
reference
an
here is talking
apology.
about,
We are doing
something
better
that
financially
we're going to get into
as
a
a
little bit later
country
after the
than
fall.
we've ever done
But I
before.
think it's going to be going after the financial sector. It's going to be, and I'm not talking about the private companies. I'm talking more about the Federal Reserve. I'm talking more about the banksters, the people who are making the interest rates, the people controlling the money, the people who, basically freaked out after President John F. Kennedy signed the Executive Order 11110 into effect, which basically granted the United States Department of Treasury power to basically print its own currency and base it off of a precious metal. And that freaked them out because it basically went right into contrast of what they wanted, which was a fiat currency, which they could use to rob our nation blind through this interest. That if you create interest on every dollar printed, then basically you're enriching yourself at the cost of the American taxpayer, and you're slowly siphoning the wealth of a country into your own pockets. That's literally what the Federal Reserve has been set up to do. And I think that's going to be something that we're going to address coming up here in the future. But until then, I'll leave that to you guys to let me know what you think about what the interpretation could be, because I'm not going to tell you that I know that for a fact. I guess wishful thinking, right? And again, if you want to get caught up, go watch the last video. You'll get caught up on all these other clips. But here's an interesting article talking about Larry Cohen, where it talks about, or Michael Cohen, it talks about Lanny Davis saying it may come down to Cohen's word versus Trump's word, which is just another way of saying that Michael Cohen has absolutely zero evidence that President Trump directed him to do anything in regard to campaign finance violations, and furthermore, that it can be equally argued that the contributions that were made both by Michael Cohen to Stormy Daniels and President Trump to Michael Cohen were basically an unrelated, non-campaign related payment that basically was just because he, may or may not have slept with this woman. So to me, I don't trust Stormy Daniels for 1 second. She's a liar. And I can tell you that for a fact, because you can look at her written statements where she says that she never, ever had any relations with President Trump. And then just shortly thereafter, she says that she did. So that's categorically, that would make her a liar one way or the other, because she's telling you two conflicting things as being true, which is another thing that Q referred to earlier in the dogma that they present, because they dogmatically try to get you to believe things that can't be true. Basically, you can't have you can't have it go one way and the other. In the case of Stormy Daniels, her saying that she did and did not, both out of the same mouth. So to me, it's a joke. And here you have what I think it's all about for basically these Mockingbird media, fake news media, MSM companies. This actually was a ratings blockbuster for MSNBC. It gives them their largest audience ever. They report it as the scandal that's going to put Trump out of office. It's going to be the impeachable offense of the century. He has been caught and has been accused by his former lawyer of, basically, I don't know what, because there's no crime that I can see that's been committed, but I guess he's accused of giving money in a campaign contribution. So there you go, because giving money to Stormy Daniels was definitely for his campaign. It wasn't something he did out of personal, a way to personally protect his own reputation, as he would do probably any other time. So to me, I just think it's laughable. Now, the next thing that's laughable here is this. I want you guys to watch this. We're not going to actually watch the clip, but this is the Jim Jeffries show, where Jim Jeffries is basically going into these Q researchers. Now, one notable one here is Jordan Sather. There's a few others. And it's basically meant to make them look silly. But what I think we can really glean from this is the simple fact that it's meant as a joke. You have Jim Jeffries here giving this interview in a more serious manner. I mean, to his credit, he actually seems to conduct the interview in a very serious way to a degree. And but to hear his audience laugh, to hear their laughter at what's going on, to hear them laugh at abusing children, and to laugh at the sacrificing humans, to laugh at human trafficking, to laugh at the fact that there are officials that we trust the most who may be involved. That to me is the most disturbing part, and I think that to me is what sickens me to my core and to my inner soul. It hurts to hear people look at these people and say, they're all basically to laugh it off. Now, a lot of this was made to look these people make these people made to make these people look silly. A lot of the questions that were posed were about aliens and stuff like that, stuff that really you want to get the little cheap laughs out of. And these people obviously had divergent views, and it was kind of an interesting dynamic to watch. But when you hear the laugh track about the stuff, none of it's funny to me. And it's just going back to like the James Gunn stuff. That's not funny to me. Making jokes about hurting children and abusing kids, that's not funny to me. Laughing at people who are trying to investigate and report on the human trafficking that has been proven to be happening, to laugh about the pedophiles who are being arrested almost every day here in this country, in these big networks of abuse networks where they're actually trafficking children for abuse, to laugh at satanic ritual sacrifice of people. That to me, laughing at that is not funny. I don't see the joke. I don't get the joke. I don't know what is really happening here, other than to say that they're trying to make a joke out of us. And the reality is that they're the joke, because they don't understand. I mean, I feel bad for them. They're mostly brainwashed. I don't understand anyone out there who has kids or a loved one or family or friends or whatever can think that those jokes are funny, or even to think that what James Gunn said on his tweets was funny about abusing children. That kind of stuff to me is not funny. And I don't get for 1 second how this has become an acceptable thing to make jokes about in the mainstream, and then make basically paint all of these individuals as being laughable individuals for wanting to look into it. Especially Jordan Sather here, who's done a lot of great work. I know that for firsthand. I've seen some of his work. He's done a lot of great work in uncovering this and exposing it and doing a good job at doing it. But that to me is just what is so laughable. And we'll have to wait and kind of put those pieces together later. But yeah, I had to point that out, because they're already going after us. Now, one of the last things here is this seeking information. The United States Secret Service is looking for information on these three individuals. If you recognize them, I really encourage you guys to call 833-225-7751 and give them any information you can about any of these three individuals who made threats in Washington, D.C. Now, I can only assume what these threats may have been, but I basically have a good idea. I'm sure they were threats against the president, or threats against some sort of assets or White House, or something in DC that they should not have been even joking about making threats against, because that to me is laughable, in the sense that 10 years ago or 20 years ago, if I'd said to you, hey, yeah, they're going to be making threats against the president in the street, talking about openly talking about how they want to go and blow up the White House, Madonna, and things like that, that's going to be totally cool and acceptable, everyone would have looked at you like you're crazy. But now it's just become commonplace for people, these brainwashed children who make statements. They're the ones who are the most vulnerable to the cultural indoctrination that they've been subject to for so long, whether it's through the media, through these video games that basically turn grown men into toddlers, and the media in itself that basically desensitizes to violence, and or the music that desensitizes them to immorality, or the lack of spiritual strength and connection to God. All of these things are combined to make pretty bad circumstances where people are just completely lost. So first off, we need to get these people basically picked up by the authorities so that they can go through it, and then we need to pray for them. Once they get picked up by the Secret Service, we hope that they get picked up soon. Again, 833-225-7751. call that number if you recognize any of these people. If you're in the Washington, D.C. area and you might know who they are, or any of the East Coast, any in the outlying regions, if you guys watch these videos and you're like, hey, I know that guy, please call that number and make that tip. And you can even tell them that I sent you, and tell them that, we support QAnon. So I don't know. If you do know, seriously though, please make that information available to your local law enforcement officials or to the Secret Service directly. Now, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this episode. I want to thank you all for watching. Now, the biggest way you can help out the channel, if you're looking to help out, is I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of you guys hitting that subscribe button. If you haven't already, please, it shows them you're watching this content. It shows them you're participating. It shows them that you're investigating. It shows them that you know. Come here, click the big red subscribe button. Make sure you hit the bell. The second best way is to scroll down at the end of this video and leave your thoughts, theories, and insights in the comments below. Because like I say, we don't just try to have our own conversation down there about anything. We try to talk about QAnon research. We try to have our own QAnon research board, but we try to talk about the mainstream media, politics, religion, culture, everything in between. And even if you can't comment, please scroll down and read through the comments, because I guarantee you're going to find something that you probably couldn't find anywhere else. And it's a great conversation with a lot of great people. So that's definitely a way to get involved and help out. Now, another great way is to come over here and give me a follow. Show me some love on Twitter. Find me at Justin_formed on Twitter. Again, that's at Justin_formed on Twitter. When you come here to this page, please come here and click the follow button. Then you can check out my content, and you'll always get the same updates you do on YouTube, on Twitter. As far as when my videos get dropped, they automatically drop over on Twitter as well. So it's a great source for you to go check out if you want to get that other information as well. Now, I can only tell you guys, I'm so thankful and I need all the support. Just Informed Talk is ran off of basically monetizing the content of my videos and you guys' support, your support via donation. I'll never charge for anything. I'll never do anything other than ask for your help and tell you that, I do make money through the advertising of the content. That's it though. And that being said, they're really coming hard on Twitter, or on YouTube, I should say, with the demonetizing videos and stuff like that. So this makes a big difference. If you really can contribute, it's a monthly donation over here on Patreon, patreon.com. Search Just Informed Talk, hit that button, make your monthly donation. Trust me, anything helps, but you can go from $1 up to whatever, but it's a monthly donation. It helps. And if you want to make a one-time donation, you can come over here, set up this page. You can do it anonymously. It's gofundme.com/just-informed. Again, that's gofundme.com/just-informed. When you come here, you click this button, you can make an anonymous one-time donation, and that helps out the channel as well. So when you guys come support it, that helps me take care of myself, my family, and this is my career. This is what I do. I'm a YouTuber full-time, and basically I do this every day, all day for you guys, 24/7, 365, making content, covering Q, not just Q though, mainstream media, everything they won't cover, everything they will cover incorrectly, covering what's going on today, the narrative they won't give you on the mainstream news. So that's a great way to support. Now, I thank you all for checking that out in advance. Now, here, we're going to take a second and talk about the most important thing, which I always save for last, because to me, I'm like, desserts last, it's the best, Christmas, I save the best gift for last, whatever. It's always, for me, it's a blessing to be able to talk about this, to wrap things up, and I hope it's a word of inspiration to you. And today I have words of inspiration for you that talk about what will happen to the wicked, what will happen to the people that we've talked about here on this episode, what will happen to those who want to go out and abuse children, or those who think it's funny to abuse children, or those who think it's funny to commit acts of evil, or those who think it's fair to be corrupt, or those who think it's good to be dishonest. Whatever that may be, the things that we cover here ad nauseum every day on this channel, they have meaning, and they are technically what you would basically call evil. And to me, a lot of that comes from just misguided people and people who've lost their way. There's always a chance for redemption, and we want to leave that open for anyone who wants to change their life and come back to God. But at the same time, we have to recognize that God will punish the wicked, and he will deliver those who fear him. So let's read this. I have this great verse I found. It's out of the book of Malachi. It's chapter 4. And how great does it sound? The day of the Lord. I think that sounds so uplifting, but let me read it to you. It says, "For indeed the day is coming, burning like a furnace, when all the arrogant and everyone who commits wickedness will become stubble. The coming day will consume them, says the Lord of hosts, not leaving them root or branches. But for you who fear my name, the Son of Righteousness will rise with healing in its wings, and you will go out and playfully jump like calves from the stall. You will trample the wicked, for they will be ashes under the soles of your feet on the day I am preparing, says the Lord of hosts." Now, what we can simply take away from that is that the Lord will deliver us. He'll deliver the righteous. He'll deliver those who fear him. He'll deliver those who are reverent to his name and follow his teachings and try to do good rather than do evil. Those who do not wish to commit wickedness, rather to commit acts of kindness and to commit acts of goodwill and to be good to those around you. That's, to me, what it means to be a Christian. Is you live a life where you recognize that you're imperfect. You recognize that you're going to make mistakes. You seek forgiveness on a regular basis, and you do your best to live your life as well as you can to live by God. Put everything to God. Attribute everything to God. For instance, this channel, I wouldn't have this without God. I wouldn't have anything. I wouldn't have a great family. I wouldn't have this great set of people coming and supporting. I mean, none of it would be possible without God. So I'm telling you right now, please, please trust me. The Lord is great, and he can make your life into something so much bigger than you may ever even believe is possible. And if you don't believe me, I challenge you to go and pray every day, to devote your life to God, and tell me your life doesn't get better. Tell me that you don't see things in a different light. Tell me you don't feel like you're contributing more in the world, that you're not acting as a child, you're acting as an adult, you're acting as somebody who has integrity, who has morals, who has ethics, who has purpose, who has qualities of leadership and qualities of humility and qualities of goodness. Those are the things that we should seek in abundance. We should seek the Lord's favor with those things, and we should present ourselves to the Lord in those ways to make ourselves worthy of that great eternal salvation that's been already bought and paid for on the cross by Jesus Christ, who sacrificed his life for our sins. So please, guys, just remember that if you don't take anything else away from this video today. Now, again, I want to thank you all for watching. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, you guys don't know, it helps out the channel so much. It lets me know you're watching. It lets me know you're here, you're aware, you're awake, you've been red-pilled. Click that button if you haven't. Make sure you do that. Now is a great time. Now, and that's going to basically wrap it up for me. I want to say thank you all so much for watching. Again, this has been Just Informed Talk. My name is Craig. Godspeed, and God bless each and every one of you, Patriots.